Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a look at something more than just exam syllabi. We're really examining, the modern professional gatekeeping process.
Mm-hmm.
If you're gearing up for professional accreditation, especially in the ACCA world, the tests have changed quite a bit.
They really have. It's not just about checking what you know anymore, is it?
Exactly. They're assessing how you actually do the job.
And that's the core of the research we've looked at today, our deep dive into this material on employability and technology skills. It isn't about rote learning.
No.
It's about understanding that these certification bodies, they're now vetting your digital fluency right alongside your technical knowledge.
So our mission here is to give you that strategic edge. We're dissecting the why and the how behind this tech skills assessment.
Right.
Focusing on what it means to shift from just like theoretical stuff to genuinely applied professional judgment.
In this syllabus area, it's now pretty much required across all the applied skill, well, except law and the strategic professional exams.
So it's everywhere.
It is. And the goal is really clear. Equip candidates with those hands-on practical skills.
Like using software.
Exactly. The confident use of modern software, the kind of stuff you'll use every single day as an accountant.
Doesn't matter if you're in practice, industry.
Or the public sector, yeah. The exam environment has basically become a professional simulation.
Okay, so let's unpack that. You mentioned the mandate for digital fluency in the sources. If the exam is a simulation, how good is the rehearsal?
Well, the simulation is actually extremely accurate.
Yeah.
And it all hinges on the computer-based examination, the CBE.
Right, the CBE.
What's really crucial to grasp is that the CBE software isn't just, a text box for answers.
Yeah.
No, it's engineered to actively mimic commonly used office software. Think word processing, spreadsheets, data management tools.
Okay, the everyday stuff.
Precisely. And by replicating these real-world tools, the exam forces you to show both your technical know-how and your professional efficiency at the same time.
So the CBE platform, it's less of a test tool and more like a technical competency screen.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
What specific things do the sources say candidates need to master then to prove they're competent?
They break the digital task down into 4 stages, basically, which are pretty much the fundamental duties of any modern analyst.
Okay.
First, you've got to efficiently access and manipulate the relevant information, using the tech, of course.
So finding the data is step 1.
That's it. Step 2 is about the actual work, processing the information. You need to be able to use the functions and tech provided to work through the response option.
That's where the analysis or calculation happens.
Right. Third is navigation. Seems basic, maybe, but it's critical under pressure. Navigating screens and windows smoothly. You need to create and amend your responses using the right tools without fumbling.
Yeah, struggling with the interface wastes precious time.
Definitely. Lost time means lost marks. And finally, the end goal, presenting the data and information effectively. Again, using the appropriate tools.
That sequence, find, process, navigate, present. Yeah, that sounds exactly like what an employer expects on day one.
It is.
But proving those skills takes practice, right? And not just practicing the answers.
Oh, absolutely. You're talking about building muscle memory for the interface itself.
So what are the best ways to use that practice platform they provide? The high-value strategies.
You hit it with muscle memory.
Yeah.
That's key. It's not enough just to know there's assigned material or official resources.
Right.
The really critical resource is the blank workspaces. Smart candidates should be in there, not just solving old questions, but practicing formatting. Seriously, practice setting up formulas in the spreadsheet, adjusting column widths, getting those keyboard shortcuts down within the CBE environment.
That's what becomes second nature.
Exactly. Until those movements are instinctive. Think of the platform as your flight simulator. Use it to crash and learn before the real exam.
That's a fantastic analogy. So the platform isn't just for content, it's for mitigating technical risk, making sure the tools don't trip you up. Okay, so that brings us to the professional judgment part. The sources really hammer this point. You have to choose between 3 different response options.
Word processor, spreadsheet, or slides.
And that choice itself, it kind of defines the professionalism of your answer, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
You're being tested on picking the right tool for the specific job you're asked to do.
Right.
And honestly, a failure point for lots of candidates isn't that they don't know the technical stuff. It's inefficient tool use.
Like trying to do complex maths in a Word doc.
Exactly that. It costs critical time and, it massively increases the risk of calculation errors. The spreadsheet option just eliminates.
Okay, tool 1. The word processor. This feels like the default for, well, words. Textual analysis.
It is. The research confirms it's best suited for those discursive answers, where you're asked to discuss, analyze, evaluate a scenario.
Right. Tasks like drafting a report or maybe writing up an agenda or briefing notes.
Yeah, or instructional documents. The professional edge here is really about layout and narrative coherence.
Makes sense.
You can structure complex arguments, use visually distinct paragraphs, bullet points for clarity, make sure the whole thing is easy to read and follow.
It's where you show your high-level evaluation skills, your communication.
Precisely. And you mentioned a specific detail we found.
Oh, yeah. The ability to easily add things like subscripts or superscripts for technical terms like, say, 4 squared, 42 bar 2.
Right. That ensures clarity when you're defining variables or formulas within your text. It looks professional.
But there's a big but.
Oh, a huge one.
Yeah.
And it's a major professional red flag if you ignore it. This tool cannot automatically do calculations.
0 calculations.
0. If your answer needs you to add up, say, 20 numbers, and you do it manually on a calculator, just type the sum in.
You're failing the digital fluency test.
You are. And worse, if you later spot one of those 20 numbers was wrong, you have to recalculate the whole thing manually, wasting precious exam time.
Okay. So, word processor. Great for explaining and justifying, terrible for generating the actual figures.
Exactly. Which naturally leads us to the engine room.
Tool 2, the spreadsheet. This is the number cruncher.
Absolutely. The spreadsheet option mimics the core functions of the financial software everyone uses in the workplace. It's built for speed and reliability with arithmetic.
So it's basically essential for things like, what, NPV calculations?
NPV analysis, tax computations, detailed goodwill calculations. Yeah, anything calculation heavy.
But beyond just being faster, what's the really critical professional insight you gain by using the spreadsheet tool in the exam?
I'd say it's about integrity and efficiency. When you use common functions, SUM, SQRT, maybe POW for powers, using brackets correctly.
You create a trail.
Exactly, an auditable trail. The examiner can actually see how you got to that number, not just the final figure.
That's important.
It is. And crucially, the sources really highlight this. The ability to easily copy tables is a massive advantage.
How so?
Well, think about it. You can model one scenario, let's say, funding option A, set up all your formulas. Then
I've copied the whole structure.
instantly copy the structure to model option B, option C, without manually re-entering anything.
For sensitivity analysis or comparisons?
Precisely. That capacity for sensitivity testing, for comparing scenarios quickly and accurately, that's often what separates an average accountant from a really valuable one.
That point about copying tables for scenario testing, that really brings home the real-world efficiency aspect, even under exam pressure.
It does.
But spreadsheets are awful for writing long explanations, right? I've seen people try to cram paragraphs into tiny cells.
Oh, it's terrible to read. Text spills over. It's hard to follow. Bullet points, really clunky to do properly.
Yeah.
It just muddies the primary purpose of the tool, which is calculation. The rule of thumb should be, if you need, say, 80% calculation and maybe 20% brief explanation, spreadsheet's fine.
But if it flips?
If you need 80% explanation and only 20% numbers, switch back to the word processor. It seems simple.
But people get it wrong.
All the time. Professionals routinely fail to make that switch in the workplace out of, well, maybe habit or convenience. And that very inefficiency, that's now being explicitly tested.
Okay, finally, tool 3, slides. Presentation software. We see this less often, maybe.
A bit less often, yeah, but it's absolutely required when the task specifically asks for communication to a wider audience.
Like a sales pitch scenario.
Sales pitch, a high-level briefing for the board, maybe part of a job interview presentation task, things like that.
So this tool is testing synthesis, boiling things down.
Exactly. The advantage isn't detail, it's impact. Key messages need to be front and center. Tables should be clean, simple. Titles get more prominence.
Okay, but the sources highlight something specific here as the real steel being tested.
The appropriate use of speaker notes. That's the crucial bit.
The
slide itself, that needs the headline, the main takeaway. But all the detailed assumptions, the nuances, the supporting data that doesn't fit visually.
That goes into the speaker notes.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The professional judgment here is deciding what's essential visual communication versus what's necessary background info.
It's the difference between overwhelming your audience with text on a slide and actually guiding them.
You got it. And its limitation is kind of the mirror image of the spreadsheet.
Very limited space on the slide itself.
Severe spatial restriction, yeah. And again, Absolutely no automated calculation function.
Right. You'd paste in figures you calculated elsewhere.
Exactly. You're expected to drop in pre-calculated figures, probably from your spreadsheet work,
Yeah.
not run new sums within the presentation tool itself.
So when you put it all together, what's really interesting is how the CBE format itself kind of forces your hand, isn't it?
It really is. It explicitly stops you from doing what, let's be honest, professionals often do in the real world out of maybe laziness or habit, forcing one single tool, usually email or maybe a shared doc, to do everything.
Yeah. Text, numbers, visuals, all crammed into one place.
Right. The CBE structure demands efficiency. It demands precision in tool selection. You're showing competence, not just in what the answer is.
But in the best way to get there and communicate it.
That's the core skill being tested. It's a forced replication of smart professional decision-making.
Okay. So the clear takeaway, the decision tree every candidate needs burned into their brain, is basically this.
If the task is asking for discursive arguments, evaluations, detailed reports, anything text-heavy.
Use the word processing option. Better formatting, easier to read.
Correct. If the task requires financial modeling, complex analysis, lots of calculations.
The spreadsheet option. It's auditable, efficient, and built for it.
And if the task specifically mentions visual communication, synthesis for a wider audience, high-level summaries.
Then you have to use the slides option and use those speaker notes strategically.
Couldn't say it better. These choices, they aren't just abstract exam hoops to jump through.
No, they mirror what you actually need to do in the working world, right?
Exactly. You wouldn't seriously try to present a detailed quarterly report breakdown using only PowerPoint slides, would you?
Or debate corporate strategy using only an Excel sheet. It sounds ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the exam is testing that foundational judgment in applying technology efficiently, which, fundamentally is a huge part of what makes you employable. Hashtag outro.
So this deep dive really shows that professional success today hinges on marrying that technical mastery with efficient digital application.
Yeah.
Success isn't just knowing the content anymore. It's about picking the best vehicle, the right tool to communicate that content effectively, especially under pressure.
And that does raise, I think, an important question for you, the professional listening.
Oh.
Well, if exam bodies now have to explicitly train candidates to use dedicated tools for dedicated tasks, word processors for text, spreadsheets for maths, slides for visuals, what fundamental professional skill are we maybe sacrificing in the actual workplace when we so often try to force one multi-purpose tool like, say, our email client or a single shared document to handle all three functions?
Discourse, calculation, and presentation, all in one inadequate place.
Exactly. Instead of using the dedicated software that's actually designed for the job, how much efficiency, how much clarity, maybe even how much integrity is lost when the pursuit of convenience perhaps trumps the pursuit of the right digital medium for the message?
That is a really good question, something to think about.